Afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. The sun's out and the weather's perfect. But I do want to discuss a topic that I feel very passionate about and I want to share with the class. Um, but I feel like this topic I'm going to be discussing with you in a minute is it's not really on the mainstream spectrum. It's kind of pushed away to the side every now and then, and it's kind of hard to see that because it's something that I experienced myself and with family and friends, and how important it is to realize these problems. But that being said, we all have a father, a brother, a son, now best friend, or even a positive role model that we seek motivation or some type of pick me up from this person. And you think to yourself, how is this person always mentally strong or mentally strong willed, or how are they able to do what they got to do to get around in life? Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes you can see a little changes or mood swings with this person, and you bring up the subject, hey, how you doing? Bro, how you doing? What's going on? And they say, oh, everything's all right, everything's fine. Or, it's okay, I'm doing all right, I'll figure it out. That's more of a basic don't, I'm okay, you don't need to help me out. They don't want to seem like a bother to the rest of the world and kind of just bother people with their problems. They don't want to seem like a charity case. And therefore, I want to talk about the discussion in this discussion of men's mental health and how important it is to realize and see these signs and help other people in need. Um, and I did find some numbers that I do want to share with the class. So, according to the Anxiety Depression Association of America, 1 in 10 men experience depression and some form of depression and anxiety. And usually, a lot of men don't want to speak up about this problem. They kind of just want to keep it to themselves and bottle these emotions away and just put it away for later, which is kind of a bad thing. And as well, they don't want to see mental help. They don't want to see a counselor, a therapist to help them figure out what's going on with them, really. Um, According to this website, 6 million men suffer from depression per year. Big number. 3 million men in the U.S. have a panic attack, and usually when a lot of these cases where like a lot of men that are not getting help that they need, they kind of self-diagnose and they kind of they pick up an addiction like alcohol or drug abuse. And when that happens, they realize it's just to sedate the pain or sedate the situation that's going on, but they don't realize the damage they're not just doing to themselves, but they're also their family members and their friends. And a lot of lost relationships has happened because of the fact that they're just it's not the alcohol or it's not the alcohol or the addiction, it's the mental health, and you just can't get out of that rut. And when they're in that rut, they're gonna get to a dark place that thinks the dark place where they think all these bad negative thoughts of maybe life would be better if I was gone. And the next topic I want to discuss is suicide rates. So, according to the American Sociology Association, from 2000 to 2020, 800,000 people commit suicide and die from it as well. Suicide rate among men is higher than women, and also states that women are likely to attempt suicide, but men are the ones who are always succeeding when they do attempt at a suicide attempt, which is a horrific thing because it's when it comes to suicide, it's that whole situation like you don't know who is going to do it. It's just you hear what happens, and it's always that typical situation when you see this man who is he's a go getter. He's got his bachelor's. He's got a great career, beautiful family, all everything that he needs to be. And then you just hear horrible news that he's killed himself in his home, and everybody asks why. Everybody thought he was a solid person, but you don't really know what that person was going through at that time in their life. You don't know if they were going through some financial crisis or some relationship crisis or whatever the case may be. A perfect example is Robin Williams, one of my favorite actors and adored by millions and has millions of fans, who's a great comedian and brought smiles to the world, but he ended up killing himself. And that's horrible. And that's horrible to fathom because of the fact that it's this such an elite person, someone who has been high in society is gone. And we just don't understand why. And that's just another case of why we should really check in with these people we care about because we don't know what they're going through with the day to day life. We understand that, hey, they're working hard, but are they really working hard? Or are they working hard to distract themselves? Right? But luckily, I was able to find some awareness in some website and a website called Healthline that helps men find resources that they need. They have organizations just for men called Face It or Men's Living or Heads Up. Where men can reach out to one another and seek help and try to this is a journey when you're going through this poor mental health isn't something you do alone. You reach out for help, family and friends, or sometimes strangers. Sometimes strangers are the best situations because they can relate with you. You hear all these stories and like, hey, it seems like I'm not the only one. I'm not by myself. You know, um, June, which is the current month we're in, and also November are men's mental illness awareness months. And usually, there's this thing in November called No Shave November, where men grow out their facial hair. Unfortunately, I can't grow nothing, so I tried to do my best to grow a little mustache, but I to show awareness. But I feel like we should be more. There should be more done. Men should be able to feel more confident speaking out and seeking help because half the time these are veterans, first responders, men that have actually tried to help their communities and make it a better place for themselves, not just for themselves, but for their families and for their fellow neighbors. And we need more of a system where we can rely on one another. But therefore, I understand what it's like to be depressed or full of anxiety because growing up life is different, life is difficult. It's like there's a bunch of moving parts. It's like a big machine that something goes wrong, it can go completely wrong and go not as bad. And I've been in situations where I have sought help from friends and family, and I've had the whole conversation with my fathers, my brothers, that like, life isn't so bad. Stop being hard on yourself. And I've been to therapy to seek help because I've just not. It's something that I want to help myself as well, but also spread to my friends and the ones and people that I see that maybe they need to pick me up because we're human at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong with reaching out for help, and I believe at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're in a bad state of mind, seek help. Reach out to somebody, or if you know somebody that is, going through a hard time, reach out to them. Check in, hey bro, or hey sis, or hey prima, what's going on? Like, what's the word? What's the have? Try to be a positive light in their life, because that goes a long way. It really does. Speaking from experience, but I hope this helps you realize the situation that we're all facing, not just for men, but for women as well, and everybody around us, and how crucial it is because it's not just a mind thing; it's also mind and body and soul. It affects. It's all one big moving machine, and it affects us all. And I hope there can be more light to the subject.